Hi, Sean Huckster here. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about Sydney Swift. Sydney Swift is going to be my character based around, the idea of Mighty Max. And of course, you all know Mighty Max. He's got this symbol here. It's a hexagon with an M and an M. Quite the iconic logo. Everyone loves this logo. And I thought, well, I want to make my own take on this. And we've seen Perrier do this with their Rover Robin and Mighty Hat and Uncle Yang. But this logo is so iconic, I also want to make it part of a set that I'm going to make. But to do it first, I needed to make my own logo. And so I came up with Sydney Swift, which is based a lot on a character, Tom Swift, books that I used to read when I was a kid, where Tom Swift is like a multi-billionaire teenager who owns his own tech company and makes all these inventions and then goes adventuring with these inventions. And that fueled my imagination like nobody's business. So I'm using the name Swift. And then I thought, well, I want a character, you know how Polly Pocket came out supposedly for girls, and this was the 90s, so you had to do that. And then Bluebird Toys, which created Polly Pocket, wanted a range for boys and came up with Mighty Max, which is wonderful. So you got PP, Polly Pocket, MM, Mighty Max, and I have SS Sydney Swift. You'll also notice that Sydney Swift logo is two S's, but it's also in a wax seal. It's only because I love wax seals. My grandfather had a wax seal when I was a kid. I was fascinated by it. I still have some of the actual ancient wax that he used, his red wax, that he handed down to me, and I still have some of it. And so I decided to model in 3D. This is paper, but this is a printout of the 3D model of my wax seal that I'm going to use as my logo for Sydney Swift. Now, the first set I want to do, and I've shown concepts of this in a previous video and some early tests. The first set is Sydney Swift shuts down the steam power punk. And that's going to be a set that takes place in a steampunk kind of environment with kind of Victorian era technology. And I've progressed fairly significantly. And today this video is to show you the progress. Previous videos showed that I test printed the head just for size and shape with a few details just to see what the whole thing would kind of feel like. And then from there, I printed a second version which changed some of the details up, and then using this, I used a marker to mark up some of the things I wanted to add. And from there, I did a test print just for size and scale. Really no detail here at all, just the inside shell, outside shell, and a basic form to see if it would even close properly. It didn't exactly, and still doesn't. I have a few issues still, but this is what prototyping is for. So I'll put these aside. And then I did another print, which was this one. And this print has a few more details. I had the goggles in here. I have I actually put plastic in the goggles here, which I'm going to do for the final set, but they're only in here for test. So I open up, first of all, you open up this set by pulling aside the goggles, and right now they go all the way open, but they will stop at some point. My later versions have it stopped in the right place. Then you pull down this part, and the head opens, and you've got a Van de Graaff machine inside, a dock for the vehicle, which I'm going to show you, and this gear. This gear does something cool too, because when you close this, it pulls the vehicle dock forward and actually helps close the set. So you've got this gap here where the chin is. And as you close this gear pulls this ramp forward and closes the head of the chin, and you close this up like so. And this is not the way I wanted to go finally. It turns out this had problems as well. These Van de Graaffs are too tall. Anyway, this is why we print prototypes. And so the next prototype was this guy. And this one fixes the chin, because the chin was divided into two pieces, and I thought I needed that, but it turns out I didn't. So, and I don't have the goggles on this. This is, again, just test prints. So this now comes apart separately from the chin, leaving a gap here. I added a gangway here, which is kind of a continuation of the gangway that goes up through the body, or the head. And then as we open it, oh, sorry, I got to open the goggles first. Now that we have the stops in place, so the goggles don't come all the way open. Those stops are still not at quite the right angle. I'm going in a little bit further, but that's okay for now. And as you open it up, You see the dock pull away from the face again. Van de Graaff machine again. Now this time I have it so that you can spin the spark so it looks like an arc going through space. Again, no detail. That's not the point of this one. The point of this one is to get the function working. And you can see here, I have a little gear in here. So, you know, I did some detail as I was going, but not enough, not much. And so that was the next prototype. And again, rapid prototyping means you make many of them. Well, not many. This is a time-consuming process, but you make a bunch of them, and you just keep improving until it works. And so what I want to show today is the most recent prototype, which is this one. Now we're talking. So color aside, I'm using colors that I have plenty of, but I don't use a lot. So like olive green, turquoise, this gold, but I am getting closer to the actual colors. I actually think I might do these goggles in turquoise. The chin will not be turquoise, but I like the idea that a lot of gas masks are made of like olive drab material, so I want this maybe to have this olive color, but these details here, these etched in details, I want them to be a separate color entirely. I've added this nose, and this nose spins, and I'll show you why in a minute. This has the vehicle in place, and the vehicle's engines form the filters of the gas mask. And again, I've pulled this out and made it a separate piece. Now you'll notice it doesn't close still, and there's two reasons for this. And this is, again, why we do prototypes. The chin section sticks under and is too far forward. There's too much material under here on the chin piece. So instead of locking in place right here along this lovely curve, it has actually jumped upward and is inside by about ½ a centimeter. And so that's got to be fixed, which I've done. The new print is printing right now. And that forces this whole thing up a little. And the second mistake I made is when I added the gangway here, I did not add space in the head for the gangway to hide itself. So it doesn't close properly. But in the next version I've cut a little divot here, and this will fit fine, and this will fit better, and the whole thing will close properly, and the vehicle will fit in place. So what we do now is we open these up, and you'll notice I have the stops in place. One of the things I've done now is I'm starting to add interior details. So over here, we have this power machine, very much a steampunk Victorian kind of power thing. Of course, we'll be painting this. Right now it's just done in gray. Over on this side, we have a staircase leading up to a platform or a floor. And this floor, the character will be able to stand on this floor and look out through the goggle ceiling. Also, I'm going to have some machines up here too, so it's not just an empty space. Over here, this power coupler is going to have, there's going to be machines in here as well, and there's going to be pipes and cables running down to the power coupler, and then there will be cables running from the power coupler inside the head, which I'll show you in a second. You'll notice I've cut the head so that the power supply, the power unit, fits neatly into the head. And over here, there's a small cut here for the floor to fit properly. Again, not perfectly formed. You can hear that. That's not supposed to happen, but that's because this head didn't completely close. If I push this down, you don't hear that because the head is just a little bit too high right now and it scrapes the floor. Again, that's why we prototype. All right, let's open it up and see what we've done. Now I've started to do interior detail. Not a lot yet, but I will show you what I've got. So you open up one, you open up the other, and then you pull up on the head. The vehicle, which normally would snap into place, but with this print, I've broken off the little peg. So, but the vehicle slides back as expected. The rest of the dock is here, which locks the vehicle in place when the head is closed. And now you'll notice the floor is here, and I've put in all these metal plates. So you've got all these metal plates here with rivets in the corners. Obviously, this is an FDM print that doesn't do flat surfaces terribly well. There's my gangway again, which I've not painted copper in this version. This is a fit test as well. Let me just remove this guy. The Van de Graaff machine is here, and the spark rotates just like the other one did. And for the most part, I'm going to put like a little hatch, a little grate here, like a drainage grate. And there's going to be pipes and wires in here, and there's going to be machines situated in various places around. The cable from here is going to be a soft piece of flexible filament that comes down through here and will actually plug into a little box next to the Van de Graaff generator, which is how it gets its power or uses its power. Now what I wanted to show as well is now the upper deck is starting to take form. Now what I've got so far is 2 spiral staircases, 3 floors, There's a little space under here that I'm going to use to put something in. It's not going to be anything functional, but it's going to be just decorative. Kind of like the dino eggs in the Dino Lab. And then there's a staircase over here, and these are just spiral staircases leading up. This one leads up to a gap in the floor, so the character can come out on the top, and this one has a hole in the floor for the character to come up through the spiral staircase. But the other feature I have in here now is a Faraday cage, as this whole thing is supposed to be a steam power punk playset. And this is a Van de Graaff machine generating massive voltages and amperages. Anybody sitting in this lab is going to want to be protected. So this is a Faraday cage, and a Faraday cage is a metal cage that is designed to protect somebody inside it. So if you sit inside a Faraday cage, any electricity that sparks at you, lightning, the output from a Van de Graaff generator, will hit the cage, and the electricity goes around the cage and not inside the cage. So you are perfectly safe standing inside this Faraday cage, and I've made it so that it opens. There's a little pin here on the floor and one on the ceiling, excuse me, and that just hinges the Faraday cage closed. Now, obviously, a lot of Mighty Max sets have a cage within it to trap mechs. So in this case, this is not only a protecting cage, but it's also a trapping cage if we want it to be. There will be machines in here. Up here on the floor, I'm probably going to put a drainage grate here or some sort of manhole cover, something interesting. Maybe so you can see down through. And then there will be machines here, machines all over in here. Now, the nose rotates because that's going to rotate this machine, which I'm going to place a little sticker on it, and that sticker will have sparks in it so that this rotates the sparks around. I am debating, since it's so low to the floor, of actually making that a gear to rotate a larger wheel that sits up here instead in some sort of machine box. But again, this is all sort of stuff that I'll be developing as I go. And I have all these different ideas, and they all can't fit. So what I'm going to try to do is come up with a bunch of them and fit them in as best I can. And then I'm going to start on the characters. I already started modeling the face of Sid Swift, and I have the basic size and shape of Sid Swift, and his or her footprint is going to fit within the Mighty Max footprint. So you can use the Sid Swift character on a Mighty Max set, and you can use Mighty Max characters on this set. And like most Mighty Max sets, my villain, which is the Steam Power Punk, is going to be a little bit larger, and he will fit on these floors, and he'll fit inside this Faraday cage, but he'll be bigger than the Sid Swift character. So the next video I'm going to do, you'll see more detail inside. I'll have fixed up some of the problems that I've already pointed out here, and the next prototype will just be a little bit closer to finished, and yet still not finished. I expect to do 3-4 more prototypes before this is finished. People asked in one of the groups, what will I do with this? Well, this is going to sit on a shelf in my room because I'm not going to sell this. I couldn't possibly. But then somebody said, well, would you sell the STL files? And I'm thinking, maybe I will make the STL files available with some detailed instruction, because you can print all these pieces, but unless you really know this set, you're not going to know how to put it together. So I'm going to have to put together some sort of detailed instruction, like how the print orientation works. For example, this one is printed upright on the bed of my printer. This face is printed this way because I need all the detail, because the inside underneath of these prints don't necessarily look very good. So I make sure that the user-facing portion is printed upward. And it's the same with these two pieces. This is printed this way. Actually, this piece is printed, both of these pieces are printed upright because you never need to see the bottom, and the bottom is there. But you don't get to see the inside of either of these. And mostly, this is almost working. If I fix these problems, it'll be fine. And again, because I'm using a 3D program to model this, I can simulate the movement and actually make sure that my floor clears the Van de Graaffs, my floor clears the vehicle dock, and it actually clears the vehicle, which allows me to almost model this entire thing in my program before I even print a piece. But that's not me. I need to make this real and do test prints and test fits. Anyway, I did want to show this right now in the current state. Let's get the vehicle back in, because we are really getting close to my vision of what I wanted this to look like. So we close this here, and close the chin. And here you have Mighty Max. Of course, it's all inspired by Mighty Max. Sid Swift shuts down the Steam Power Punk. Anyway, please stay tuned for more videos as I make this product closer and closer to the final. Sean Huckster signing off for Sid Swift. Thanks for watching. Bye.